Hello, my name is Cabri Racer and I'm taking Rick's History 105 course this semester. I did my research paper on slavery and how slavery in the past currently affects American citizens today. In my paper, I learned a lot, some of them being, I went into the phrase, all men are created equal, something that, defines America, or so you would think, but I find it profoundly ironic that we used to say all men are created equal while we built this country on the backs of slaves. That's something I went into. And not to mention the man who wrote it, Thomas Jefferson, was also a slaveholder. So he did not truly believe that all men are created equal. So slavery existed in a lot of different countries, most countries, and most of them survived, making the transition from slavery to equality. While they did suffer economic backlash at first, they figured it out and most of them were fine. America's Black Southerners were kept down by extreme criminalization and intergenerational poverty. So it made it difficult to stay out of prison, because when you're in prison, you can't do anything. And so it kept them down. Intergenerational poverty, on the other hand, kept them down in the sense that it was almost impossible to get out of the rut of poverty in this, every generation being poor, and it just wasn't good. I also learned about the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This act ended the separate but equal nonsense of the time, but it didn't really in and of itself end discrimination. It just made it a little bit easier for African American citizens to gain justice for discrimination that they face. One thing that I really, really enjoyed learning about was the preserved culture of African American slaves. It came from a place of so much hurt and trauma, and it made a beautiful culture that we are still learning about with the development or the findings of new artifacts that were found during the time. Things like reworked glass, beads, animal paws. One thing that really stuck out to me, though, was the pierced coins. These were kind of like talismans, like a charm. You pierce the coin in the middle, you wear it on your neck, and some people wore it for luck, some people wore it to prevent disease, but most of the time it was used just for general protection from evil, which is so cool to me. Moving on, one huge misconception that comes with slavery, I have found, is that slavery ended with Abraham Lincoln and the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863. However, in my essay, I argued that slavery, in a different sense, is still alive in the United States due to our flawed prison system. And this is because of the disproportionately higher amount of African American citizens that are incarcerated. It doesn't add up if we take the general population and do the math. It doesn't add up, because in many states, more than half of the prison population is African American. So in my research, the online source that helped me the most was JSTOR. That's spelled JSTOR, and it helped me a lot because it's a very credible source that requires either paid access or you can access it through your college, and it provides access to over 2,000 academic journals that they have compiled, and it's really good, especially for history assignments, because it goes into the social aspect of it. My sources differed from one another because I used journal reviews, I used credible articles, and I used digital textbooks. And overall, I really enjoyed this assignment. This is something I'm passionate about, especially considering last year with the BLM movement. And I really just think that people need to educate themselves on this issue if we want to see any change. I enjoyed it because it pertains to American life today. So that's all I've got. Thank you so much.